welcome. Thank you for being here. Shout out to Camila. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to... Give me 1 second. Let me fix this. Thank you, Camila. I appreciate your support. Shout out to Lily. Shout out to Katie. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Give me 30 seconds. I'll be right back. Thank you for your patience. Shout out to Isabella. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to is it Fena Sikarim? Sorry if I mispronounce her name. Shout out to Floretta. Shout out to write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to Otus Biroklu. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Dayton. Shout out to Daramik. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Ash. Shout out to Santana. Shout out to Lucas. Hello, welcome. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to Jacqueline. Shout out to Jojo. Shout out to Patricia. Shout out to Janelle. Shout out to, is it Silent? Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Jocelyn. No, is it Jocelyn? Jocelyn, sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Jericho. Shout out to Liliana. Shout out to Alice. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Chloe. Shout out to Isabel. Shout out to Gemma. Yes, give me 1 second. Let me move this up a little bit. Thank you for your patience. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to move this a little bit. Like that. Okay, I hope that looks better. Shout out to Alyssa. Shout out to Natalie. Shout out to, is it Akila? Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Naya. Shout out to Amari. Shout out to Naya. Oh, Naya, I got you. Shout out to Alex. Shout out to Rini. Shout out to Elena. Shout out to Raylan, or Rylan. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Sana. Shout out to Musfira. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Lily. Shout out to Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to, is it Nike? Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to Samir. Shout out to Empire Gaming. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to Ruben. Shout out to Charlie. Hello everyone, welcome. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Also leave a like if you enjoy the shout outs. Shout out to Diana. Shout out to Rylan, or Raylan. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Isabelli. Shout out to Akila. Akila. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Analia. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Tisha. Shout out to Scarlett. Shout out to Chaya or Shaya. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Charlie. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. Shout out to Jadam. Shout out to, oh, Jaden. Shout out to Syra. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Dia. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Thank you, Jacqueline. Shout out to Jacqueline. Shout out to Max. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Saya or Sia. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Zanaya. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to Demley. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Alton. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Pari. Was it Akaila? I forgot. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Delta. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Aviana. Shout out to Melissa. Shout out to Misa. Shout out to Abigail. Shout out to Rampton. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Sarah. Shout out to Josie. Shout out to Angel. Thank you for your support, Angel. It means a lot. Shout out to Zara. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Rylan. Shout out to Aviana. Shout out to Afra. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. Shunting, thank you for subscribing. What name would you like me to write to shout you out? Shout out to Julie. Shout out to Afu. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Ellie. Shout out to Alba. Shout out to Viren. Shout out to Yuana. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Jarvis. Shout out to Sassini. Shout out to Angela. Shout out to Albert. Shout out to Kayla. Shout out to Presley. Shout out to Monsi. Write your name if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to Theo. Shout out to Evashan. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Evashan. Shout out to Mariah. Shout out to Denise. Shout out to Amina. Shout out to Alyssa. Shout out to Sumaya. Shout out to Leah. Shout out to Kim. Shout out to Albert. Whoopsie, I messed up. Shout out to Buhari. Shout out to these people. On to the next page. Thank you for being here. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to Hannah. Shout out to Fionn. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Shooter. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Lena. Shout out to Naya. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to I Got You Shutter. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Amina. Shout out to Lucy. Shout out to Nevaeh. Shout out to Dia. Shout out to Yoon Shuk. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Tayloy. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Ronnie. Shout out to Vidu. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Lucas. Shout out to Gianna. Shout out to Ava. Shout out to Winston. Shout out to Marley Gingers. Shout out to Woon Yu. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Malaya. Shout out to Nicole. Shout out to Amga. Shout out to Duka. Excuse me. Shout out to Rose. Shout out to Kirti. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you for being here. Shout out to Casey. Shout out to Hinson. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Rose. Shout out to Unwoo. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Cassius. Shout out to Nats. Shout out to Lily. Shout out to Bella. Shout out to Amga. Shout out to Duka. Shout out to Cassius. Shout out to Anna. Shout out to Nevaeh. Shout out to Macy. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. Shout out to Olivia. Shout out to Diego. Shout out to Leela. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to, is it Batty Uni? Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Bianca. Shout out to Ashley. Shout out to Hannah. I got you right here, Batty Uni. Shout out to Colleen. I got you. I put Bianca here. Shout out to Michaela. Shout out to Wema. Shout out to Claudia. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to Foxton. Shout out to Kiana. Shout out to Pia. Shout out to Jojo. Shout out to Tay. Shout out to Nevea. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Abiel. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Jim Bob. Shout out to Jolie. Shout out to Sadie. Shout out to Nulathma. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Pamela. Shout out to Bianca. Shout out to Nithuli. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Gab. Shout out to Princess. Shout out to Schuler. Shout out to Aya, or Aya. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Rowan. Shout out to Shadia. Shout out to Madison. Shout out to Liam. Shout out to Caitlin. Shout out to Shaleen or Shailene. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Miriam. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you for being here. Shout out to Jaylee. Shout out to Zelda. Shout out to Ayana. Shout out to Santi. Shout out to Jaina. Shout out to Izzy. Shout out to Oyuna. Shout out to Diancy. I'm gonna put your name over here so it fits. Diancy. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Bree. Shout out to Nyla. Shout out to Nathan. Shout out to Shout out to Rosie. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to, is it Micah? Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Enal. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Michaela. Shout out to Carmela. Oh wait, Carmela? Carmela. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Ava. Shout out to Mira. Shout out to Sheen. Shout out to Shoddy. Shout out to Rainier. Shout out to Alondra. Shout out to Bella. Shout out to Tuba. Shout out to Carla. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. On to the next page. Like and subscribe if you enjoy the shout outs. I also post other content. I hope you can check it out as well and support. Thank you so much for being here. Also, thank you for your patience. I know I'm not the fastest in writing, so thank you so much for taking the time to write your name out. Shout out to Herbert. Shout out to Mura. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Renata. Shout out to Yuli. Shout out to Damien. Shout out to Callie. Shout out to Samaya or Samia. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Daniel. Shout out to Emma. Shout out to Audrey. Shout out to Alexa. Shout out to Taya or Taya. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Lita. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Diana. Shout out to Faria. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Rihanna. Or Rihanna. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Scarlett. Shout out to Julio. Or Julio. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Diancy. Shout out to Elle. Shout out to Nico. Shout out to Raylan. I hope you feel better soon. Shout out to Lulu. Shout out to Shutter. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Mia. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. Shout out to Zara. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Excuse me. Shout out to Lindsay. Shout out to Rowan. Shout out to Avani. Shout out to Rubina. Shout out to Shell. Excuse me. Shout out to Vicky. Shout out to Akaila. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Noah. Shout out to Mateo. Shout out to Simi. Shout out to Reagan. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. Shout out to Kaya. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Megan. Shout out to Mike. Shout out to Rosie. Shout out to Simon. Shout out to Sahir. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Hafsa. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Zoe. Shout out to Magda. Shout out to Banu. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Ray. Shout out to Daniela. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Kyle or Chayo. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Gabriella. Shout out to Dell. Shout out to Anmol. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Charlie. Shout out to Yunche. Shout out to Barira. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Anna. Chayo, I got you. Or Kyle, sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Adalia. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Lila. Shout out to Miral. Shout out to Cordelia. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. Shout out to Luna. Shout out to James. Shout out to Eddie. Shout out to Selmek. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Leon. Shout out to Maylin. Or Mylin. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Adeem. Shout out to Ness. Shout out to Elion. Shout out to Kenzie. Shout out to I Got You, Selmeg. Shout out to Amina. Shout out to Parham. Shout out to Princess. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. Shout out to Gabe. Shout out to Brian. Shout out to Zuzia. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Lisa. Shout out to Adine. Shout out to Grace. Shout out to Lark. Shout out to Ophelia. Shout out to Noel. Shout out to Uwanzaya. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to Awa. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Harry. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Francesca. Shout out to Erin. Shout out to Lisa. Shout out to Mickey or Mikey. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Jamila. Or Jamila. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Adine. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Ava. Shout out to Brycey. Shout out to Rebecca. Shout out to Cami. Shout out to Gabby. I got you, Adine, right here. Shout out to Ayuki. Shout out to Nikki. Shout out to these people. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time to write your name. I truly appreciate it. Please like and subscribe if you like the shout outs. I also post other content. I hope you can check it out as well. Thank you so much. I normally live stream every day. I will see you next time. Take care, everyone. Bye.